Hey guys, this is Malinki. Welcome back to my channel Voice of Malinki. So today we will discuss about nerve impulse. And if you are new in my channel, please subscribe my channel. And if you like my video, please do like, comment and share my video. Let's discuss about nerve impulse. So all cell membranes in animals maintain a voltage difference between the exterior and interior of the cell. It is called the membrane potential. So suppose this is the cell and this is outside of cell, this is inside the cell, and this cell always will maintain a voltage difference between the outside and inside of the cell, and this voltage difference is called as membrane potential. A typical membrane potential of an animal cell membrane is minus 70 millivolt. That means the interior of the cell has a negative voltage relative to the exterior. So the interior of the cell, that means the cytoplasm, it contains a negative voltage relative to the exterior, whereas exterior or extracellular space of cell will have positive voltage. Okay, so in most types of cells, this membrane potential stays fairly constant. So it is almost constant in most types of cells. Some types of cells like neurons, muscle cells, so in these cases they are electrically active, and that means their voltages fluctuate over time. So in those cases, that is in case of neurons, in case of muscle cells, this membrane potential gets changed over time. It's not constant in these cases. So when a neuron is not conducting any impulse, when a neuron that does not conduct any impulse, that is, it is in its resting stage. So that time the axonal membrane is comparatively more permeable to potassium ions and impermeable to sodium ions. That means the plasma membrane of neuron, when it is in the resting phase, that means it is not conducting any impulse, that time the plasma membrane will permit potassium ions to enter the cell from the outside, and it does not allow sodium ions to enter the cell from outside. That's why it is permeable to potassium ions and impermeable to sodium ions. Consequently, axon contains high concentration of potassium and low concentration of sodium, because as it is allowing potassium ions to enter the cell cytoplasm, definitely the cell will have high concentration of potassium, and as it does not allow any sodium to enter in the cell cytoplasm, that's why it will have low concentration of sodium in the cytoplasm. In contrast, the fluid outside the axon contains a low concentration of potassium, a high concentration of sodium, and thus forms a concentration gradient. Because inside the cell, potassium ions are entering, that means outside the cell will have low concentration of potassium, and inside the cell it will have low concentration of sodium. That means the high concentration of sodium will be there outside the cell membrane, and that is the difference. That difference will make the concentration gradient. So it makes the concentration gradients because outside the cell contains low concentration of potassium, whereas inside the cell contains high concentration of potassium, and outside the cell contains high concentration of sodium, and inside the cell has low concentration of sodium. So it's just opposite. That's why it is making a concentration gradient. These ionic gradients across the resting membrane are maintained by the active transport of ions by the sodium-potassium pump. Okay, so sodium-potassium pump, these types of pumps are found in the plasma membrane of neurons, and they transport 3 sodium outwards and 2 potassium into the cell. So these sodium potassium pump transport ions actively. That means they take energy from external source like ATP, etc. and they transport 3 sodium outwards. That means 3 sodium will be released from the cell cytoplasm to the extracellular space, whereas 2 potassium ions will be entered inside the cell from the extracellular space via this sodium potassium pump. So here you can see this image. This is the sodium potassium pump. It is found in the plasma membrane of neurons, and now this pump will allow 3 sodium ions to move outside, that means extracellular fluid, and 2 potassium ions will come inside the cytosol. So that will be done by the sodium potassium pump. As a result, the outer surface of the axonal membrane possesses a positive charge, while the inner surface becomes negatively charged and therefore is polarized. So why the outer surface of the axonal membrane contains positive charge? Because in the outer surface here you will have 3 sodium, 3 cations, 3 positive ions, whereas in the inner surface it has 2 positive charge. So outside contains 3 positive charges while inside of the neuron contains 2 positive charges. That's why the outer part is more positive compared to inner surface, and the inner surface is negatively charged because it has only 2 positive ions, and therefore it is polarized, because we know that charge difference makes a thing polarized, right? The electrical potential difference across the resting membrane potential is called the resting potential. So that we know that when cell, or you can say here the neuron, it is in the resting condition, that is it is not conducting any impulse, that time the electrical potential difference across the membrane is called the resting potential, and we have already seen that generally it is minus 70 millivolt. Now when a stimulus is applied, so now a stimulus is applied. So when a stimulus is applied at a site, particular site, suppose this is point A. Suppose this is point A. So here you can understand it better. Okay. So this is point A. And in this point, at this site, a stimulus is applied. So stimulus is applied at a site A on the polarized membrane. So the membrane at the site A becomes freely permeable to sodium. Okay, so at this point the stimulus is applied, and now what will happen? The membrane of the neuron at the site A will become freely permeable to sodium. That means sodium ions will now freely enter into the cell cytoplasm. So till that point we know that sodium ions could not enter the cell cytoplasm. But now when the stimulus is applied, the sodium ions will enter freely in the cell cytoplasm. And influx of sodium occurs through the opening of voltage gated sodium channels. So this is sodium channel. Here you can see that when the stimulus is applied, these sodium channels, these are voltage gated sodium channels, they are open, and sodium ions from outside or extracellular fluid will enter into the cell cytoplasm. So this is sodium channel. This is different from the sodium potassium pump that I have told before. Okay, so now sodium ions are coming or entering into the cell cytoplasm. This leads to a rapid influx of sodium, followed by the reversal of the polarity at that site. Okay, so now sodium ions are coming. So there will be the rapid influx of sodium. Now when rapid influx of sodium will be there, so sodium ions are now in the cytoplasm of the neuron. That time what will happen? The reversal of the polarity at that site will be happen. So till now the cytosol was negatively charged, whereas the extracellular fluid was positively charged. But now when sodium ions are entering inside the cell cytoplasm, the cell cytoplasm will have more number of positively charged sodium ions. That's why that part will have positively charged, whereas the extracellular fluid, in that part it will lack sodium ions, because maximum sodium ions are now inside the cell. Therefore, that part of the extracellular fluid will become negatively charged. That's why it is called as reversal of the polarity. So plus becomes minus and minus becomes plus now, right? Hence the outer surface of the membrane becomes negatively charged and the inner surface becomes positively charged. So we have seen it in this picture. Now the polarity of the membrane at the site A is thus reversed and hence depolarized. As the polarity is reversed, it is called as depolarization or depolarized. The electrical potential difference across the plasma membrane at the site A is called the action potential or nerve impulse. So the electrical potential difference across the plasma membrane at that particular site, that is site A, that is called as action potential or nerve impulse. So the membrane potential decreases from -70 to -55 millivolt because the cytoplasm will have more number of sodium ions now, more number of positive ions. That's why the negative charge of cytoplasm is getting reduced. So it comes to -55 millivolt from -70 millivolt. -70 millivolt was the potential membrane potential that was found in the resting phase. As the depolarization proceeds further, a larger number of voltage gated sodium channels open. So now more number of sodium channels will open and membrane potential reaches its maximum, that is plus 35 millivolt. So number of sodium channels will open now and more sodium ions will come inside the cell from the extracellular space. That will make the cytoplasm more positive and it will reach the maximum, that is plus 35 millivolt. So from -70 it was -55, then it will come to plus 35 millivolt. Sodium influx stops due to the inactivation of gates of sodium channels. Now sodium channels, that voltage gated sodium channels, will be inactivated now. And when these channels are inactivated, sodium influx stops. So at that point, when the membrane potential reaches plus 35, at that point sodium channels will get inactivated and sodium influx will be stopped. The voltage gated potassium channels fully open at plus 35 millivolt, causing efflux of potassium ions. So what will happen after that? Sodium channels are now closed. Now one more channel will come in this picture, that is voltage gated potassium channels. So till now you have found first one is sodium potassium pump, then voltage gated sodium channels. Now this is third, voltage gated potassium channels. So they are now fully open at plus 35 millivolt, causing efflux of potassium ions. So suppose this is the plasma membrane and this is A, site A, and in this site, now what will happen? The potassium ions will be released from the cell cytoplasm to the extracellular space via this potassium channel. Efflux of potassium ions makes inside of the membrane negative and outside positive again. This stage is the repolarization phase. So to compensate the membrane potential difference that was now plus 35 millivolt, to compensate that, potassium channels are now open and potassium ions will be released from the cell cytoplasm to the extracellular fluid. And in the extracellular fluid, number of potassium ions are now more and more. So they are positively charged ions that will make outside positive again and inside will be negative. This stage is repolarization phase because polarization is now again altered and established. So after depolarization, here we have found repolarization phase. At the later period of this phase, the membrane potential reaches towards the resting membrane potential. So now from the repolarization phase, the membrane potential will reach toward the resting membrane potential. This limits efflux of potassium ions. This state is known after depolarization phase. So when the membrane reaches its resting membrane potential, it will again limit the efflux of potassium ions, and this stage is known as after depolarization phase. Most of the voltage gated potassium channels are closed now. But as some of the voltage gated potassium channels are still open, efflux of potassium continues and membrane potential becomes more negative. So maximum number of potassium channels are closed, but some of the voltage gated potassium channels are still open. All potassium channels are not yet closed. Hence the efflux of potassium ions continues from the cytosol to the extracellular space, and the membrane potential will become more negative. So it will produce the phase after hyperpolarization phase. This phase is after hyperpolarization phase. The resting membrane potential is yet to be achieved. So ultimately they want to get the resting membrane potential, but it is yet to be achieved. So it is achieved by the complete closure of voltage gated potassium channels. So these voltage gated potassium channels would need to be completely closed. Otherwise the resting membrane potential could not be achieved. So all these potassium channels will be closed now, and sodium potassium pumps that we have seen in the first time. So the sodium potassium pumps will be opened again. They will help to restore the resting membrane potential. In this way, action potential is generated and again the resting membrane potential will be reached. So now we will see the propagation of nerve impulse, because till now we have seen that how the action potential is generated at a particular point of neuron. So that we have seen at the particular site, that is site A, at that site how the action potential was generated we have seen. Now we will see how the nerve impulse or how the action potential will be propagated throughout the nerve fiber. So at sites immediately ahead the axon. So that is site B. We have seen this is site A. This is the first site where firing was done. Now we will see the site B. So this side is immediately ahead the axon. Now this side, the membrane has a positive charge on the outer surface and negative charge on its inner surface. Because in this side, that is in this side B, the membrane is in the resting position. So in this side, the outside of the plasma membrane will be positive and the inside will be negative. But at the site A, we have seen that the membrane potential was changed and action potential was achieved. When at the site A, action potential was achieved, it will result the current flow on the inner surface from site A to site B. Because here we have seen at site A, when it reached the action potential, the inner surface of the neuron had positively charged and the outer surface of the neuron or the extracellular fluid was negatively charged. So, the current will now flow from this to this part, from A to B site. Hence, the polarity at this side, that is at the side B, is now reversed and an action potential is generated at side B. So now at the side B, the action potential will be generated from site A. Thus the impulse, that is action potential generated at site A, now arrives at site B. The sequence is repeated along the length of axon and consequently the impulse is conducted. So in this way, the electrical impulse will be conducted throughout the axon. So what is refractory period? When the nerve fiber is once excited, it will not respond to a second stimulus for a brief period. Suppose this is site A and this site A is once excited and it is fired. So for a particular time, this site A will not respond to a second stimulus. This period is called refractory period. At this point, the nerve fiber is incapable of eliciting an action potential at any intensity of stimulation. So, irrespective of the intensity of stimulation, this site A will be incapable of eliciting an action potential. It will not generate any action potential. Refractory period ensures that the action potential moves in only one direction along an axon. That means from A to B, the action potential will move. But in the reverse order, the action potential cannot move because this A site will be incapable of eliciting an action potential. So, from this A to, suppose this is site C, this site, any passing of electricity will not be there. So, it will be moving in only one direction. Only the unfired part of the axon can respond with an action potential. So, now this B is in the unfired condition. So, it will respond on this action potential. The part that has just fired, that is site A. Site A is just fired. So, it is unresponsive until the action potential is safely out of range and cannot re-stimulate that part. So, A will become unresponsive until the action potential is safely out of range. That means it is from A to B. Until that time, site A will remain unresponsive and you cannot stimulate that site A for that particular time. Usually, the action potential propagates from the axon hillock towards the synaptic knobs. That is, axon hillock is the part, from that part axon generates from the cell body. So, from that part toward the synaptic knobs, that means towards the posterior end of axons. Generally, axon potential propagates in this way. Propagation in the opposite direction is very rare. So, I have already told that in the opposite direction, propagation cannot take place. Now, we will see one more thing, that is all or none principle. The amplitude of an action potential is independent of the amount of current that produced it. This means larger currents do not create larger action potential. So, it doesn't mean that if larger currents you apply, if you apply larger currents, it will not create any larger action potential. If you apply smaller current, it will not create smaller action potential, because the amplitude of action potential is not dependent on the amount of current. Therefore, action potentials are said to be all or none signals, since either they occur fully or they do not occur at all. So, action potential either occurs fully, otherwise they will not occur. Next is myelin and saltatory conduction. Myelin sheath is an effective insulator that we know. So, it is the effective insulator, it contains lipids, that's why it is the insulating agent. Ions cannot pass through the myelin sheath. Current is carried by the cytoplasm and the impulse is transmitted from node to node rather than continuously along the entire length of the fiber. So, you can understand that from this picture. The depolarization in myelinated axon jumps from one node of Ranvier to the next. So, this is the structure of neuron and this is the axon. Here you can see these red one, these are myelin sheath, and between two myelin sheath, here you will get one node that is called as node of Ranvier. So, between two adjacent myelin sheaths, one node of Ranvier is present. Now, when depolarization occurs in one part or in one node, it will jump to the next node. So, you can see here the jumping pattern. From one node, the depolarization is jumping to the next node. This jumping of depolarization from node to node is known as saltatory conduction. So, the nerve conduction occurs via this jumping. By contrast, in unmyelinated axons, the action potential provokes another in the membrane immediately adjacent and moves continuously down the axon like a wave. So, in this picture, you can see no any myelin sheath is present. As myelin sheaths are not present, nodes of Ranvier are also not present. So, in this case, the depolarization that occurs at this site, it will pass to the next adjacent site. So, it will not jump, rather it will pass from one side to the adjacent site and it moves continuously down the axon like a wave. It cannot jump because myelin sheaths are not present here, nodes are not present here. So, it moves like a wave and it takes more time than myelinated neurons, because in case of myelinated neuron, because of the jumping of the depolarization, here the nerve impulse can move more fast. So, this is all about the nerve impulse.